Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host TMNT. With me, like always, is my coffee-loving friend Noah Bailey. And this week we have two reviews for you, and we'll be starting with Detective Pikachu, which is a movie that I've seen it, and I still cannot believe it exists. A live-action Pokemon movie just is something that I've honestly dreaded since I was like first got into Pokemon. Like first for the moment I realized, oh, video games can be movies and they're always bad. I've dreaded this day for my entire life. Well, okay. What are your general thoughts on the movie before I get into it?
Yeah. Okay, so I was not a fan of it. Just like I went in, I was like, you know what? It did everything right up to the point. Good trailers. Ryan Reynolds was a good casting. It looked somewhat interesting. The
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon actually don't look cringy looking at them,
Which is
unlike Sonic or
insane.
something.
They don't.
Yeah,
They look actually kind of good.
yeah.
Like
Like
they
that's what
look
I'm saying. Like it
pretty much
actually,
what you would expect them to look like. They're actually real.
yeah. Like yeah, you can tell it doesn't exactly fit in live action, but it's not to the point where it just hurts your eyes
Yeah,
looking at next to anything real.
yeah, like Sonic.
So, exactly. So no, it looks fine, and then we get to this movie, and it's so like literally I don't like it for the two reasons I don't like it is one, all the action is just running away from stuff, and like
Yeah,
that's fine. Like I
right.
get it. But like, there's like I was expecting, like I know you didn't have to be like a legit Pokemon, but I was expecting some like clash and stuff like that. There was literally just run away. Okay, now this is trying to kill us. Run away. Okay, now Greninjas are trying to kill us. Run away. Okay, now Mewtwo's trying to kill us. Run away. Like literally, there was no.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
yeah. Like now that I'm thinking about it, the two like only battle sequences were that fight in the cage. But even then, like that was Pikachu running away from Charizard. You
Exactly.
got like a little bit of the Blastoise versus Gengar fight, but like some of the stuff from the trailer was actually cut out of the movie. Like the part where Blastoise was
Right.
like spinning around, shooting Hydro Pumps out, that
Hmm.
wasn't even in the movie, as far as I could tell. But then Pikachu versus Mewtwo, it was pretty short because Pikachu obviously wasn't gonna beat Mewtwo.
Right.
And like he hit him with one Volt Tackle, I think a Thunderbolt or something, but like most of it was just Pikachu running away from Mewtwo.
Exactly. Which
I didn't
makes
really think
sense
about
again,
that.
but still. But yeah, I mean that it's something that like I picked up like halfway through, like at the scene
Mm,
where they're in the lab and they're running from the Greninjas.
yeah,
Like at that point, I was like, okay,
this is
are they? Is anyone ever gonna fight back? Because like I'm not trying to be, but like where I'm seeing these moments. I'm like, guys, you're super effective. You'll be fine. But at the same time, it's like does, I mean, maybe that doesn't work. I don't know. Does he not remember the powers? But I mean, I
I
guess.
mean,
But
yeah,
like,
he said he didn't remember how to use, any moves, but yeah, now that you're bringing it up, it is probably a bigger issue than I originally kind of thought it would be. Probably what they could have done and should have done was along with him and the girl. I remember Tim. I don't remember the girl's name.
hmm,
Lucy, maybe. I think Lucy sounds
I don't
right.
know.
And I'll call her Lucy.
I have no idea.
Maybe at some point they also run into like another actual trainer or
Hmm.
who had like an Arcanine or some other like actually competently pretty powerful Pokemon. And when they're running away from a Greninja, you can send out the Arcanine or whatever and at least fight back a little bit. I felt that would have added a pretty decent dynamic to their team. You have your main character do with Pikachu. You have the reporter lady, and you have the actual like fighter of the group. I felt that would have maybe. I don't know exactly if the movie could have like balanced all three of their stories at the same time, but like you didn't really. I mean, you don't really like need him to have his own story arc. He just kind of needs to be
Right.
there for action to happen, and I think that would have been fine.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Because I was going in this expecting a lot more action because obviously it's Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon fight. Like that was something I was expecting, and we did. We didn't get a lot of it, and like that. And the other thing for me is the story was just kind of boring. Like it had interesting points to it, and like
Mm,
there was like it was kind of like I think the idea of like putting people into Pokemon was kind of cool, I guess.
mm.
But I think just how it was like the twists weren't really that unexpected.
Yeah,
It
none
was
of the
kind of just
twists were like, like, oh no, the sun is actually the villain. You need to go stop him. Don't mind me over here sitting in my desk
in my
surrounded by a bunch of epic legendaries, clearly the villain of the movie.
right, yeah, like me as I sit in my evil chair spinning around. Like obviously, like I was expecting like a lightning bolt or something in the
Yeah.
background while he's talking. I'm like, okay, well he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But
Although I will say the that Ditto might have been my favorite character of the movie.
that was a good use.
Like just that the lady herself had a pretty cool design, and then she turned into a Ditto, and then like I love how they kept the fact that whenever a Ditto transforms, it keeps the beady little eyes. It's just that
So
was
creepy.
that's one thing this movie like. I know you're kind of down on it, but overall, I felt it was like as good as it needed to be for the first introduction of Pokemon into live action. Like it
Okay.
didn't need to be much better than this. It could have been a lot worse. That's kind of my
This
stance.
this is true. This is true.
The acting was fine. The Pokemon designs looked really good. The story was, especially compared to the actual Detective Pikachu game on 3DS, like it's about as good as that story was anyway. So like I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And even in that game, there wasn't a whole lot of battling. Like there was some stuff that was implied, but like it was mostly just like detective stuff happening. It wasn't a lot of battling. Um, but overall, I felt the one thing it did very well. I feel it hit you with just enough fan service for it to not feel overwhelming, but still give fans what they want. Like I said with
Hmm.
Ditto having the BDIs, that one shot of of it just showing how this world works and having that girl in the stadium with the Gyarados and the Arcanine, and then that
Hmm.
guy with like a really dorky red, or like throwing a book, like just that shot alone of just that stadium and a battle about to happen, like that was enough for me to get excited. And just they could have they could have went full fan service and only had the original 150 in there. They could have like shoved that down your throat super hard. The villain like could have straight up been Giovanni. Like they could have went crazy with fan service, but
That would have been that would have been sick.
it, that they this is definitely a gateway to future Pokemon movies that are going to be better than this. Like this is
Okay.
for, and obviously, I think the sequel to this, because they already said a sequel is going to happen. I think
Hmm.
that could also be a lot better. Add some more Pokemon designs in there, because yes, they didn't focus, super hard on the original 151, but like it was a little disappointing to see that like they only had maybe 50 Pokemon that they picked out of the over 800, and they just kind of reused those
Hmm.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a lot of Loudred, a lot of Arcanine, a lot of Growlithe. Like there's just a lot of
Hmm.
stuff in the background that you can see repeated a lot.
Bulbasaur and like
Yeah,
yeah.
Charmander, Dodrio. Like
Yeah.
these are cool Pokemon to see, but I would
But
have.
there's so many options.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the way they framed it is that they said they picked who they wanted the movie beforehand, and then they made the movie. So like that was they like made the models and just kind of put them in there. So it's fine, but
Okay. That's fair.
it did kind of take away from this being the world of Pokemon to only see
Hmm.
a very small fraction of what they could
Right.
have
And I
done.
think that might just be like one of the downsides of just knowing how immersed this universe
Yeah.
is. It's just like, oh man, you only use 5% of all Pokemon. But I
Mm,
mean, for someone who doesn't really know how many there are, it's probably like, wow,
yeah.
there's so many different kinds.
Yeah. But and also I feel that the Mewtwo, I know this is trailer logic happening, like you need to show the biggest part of your movie in the trailers, I get that. But Mewtwo was literally spoiled in the first 30 seconds of the movie. You didn't need to have him in the trailer.
I mean, it was nice. It was still nice to have. Just
But
because,
I
like,
feel,
'cause-
even before that, I feel people would have been excited regardless of oh, like Pikachu is the main character basically. More people know Pikachu than they do Mewtwo. I don't think people are
This is
gonna see
true.
it just because Mewtwo's in it.
But I think one of those fan service moments of Mewtwo showing up and just bursting on the scene, everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is gonna be legit!" Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that might have been.
Hmm. But honestly, I was surprised that I didn't hate any of the main characters. Like Tim, I felt the first 15 minutes of the movie is him being sad about his dad dying, and that's fine.
Hmm.
But it took way. I feel like it took just a little too long, especially after he met Pikachu. There was still a pretty long period of him being mopey. That was what I'm looking for, mopey. He was
Okay.
mopey for way too long, and it just after he kind of got over that and started bonding with Pikachu more, he was fine. But the first 15 minutes, I was a little concerned. But regardless, I thought Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu was was just perfect.
Great. Yeah. He did a really good job, and it was
Yeah.
funny too because like you could tell it was still Ryan Reynolds doing it because he's like making funny jokes and making references
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff, and like just really done well.
Mm.
That part.
Like there were clearly some jokes that were just like thrown into the moment, and they kind of like halted the scene a little bit, but it was still funny, so I didn't really care.
Hmm.
That's just
Right.
that's just how Ryan Reynolds movies work, so it's not that big of a deal.
Not a big a deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And also Lucy, I'm gonna call her again. I thought I would find her annoying, and her side act weren't annoying at all.
Hmm.
Um, and the villains, like though they weren't super interesting, you could like easily, guess who they were. Their I felt their plan was still engaging enough to be like, oh, they created this new life form in Mewtwo. No, actually, they didn't create him. They just captured him, and then
Hmm.
they used that to like make Pokemon enraged and whatnot. Like the fact that they didn't, the fact that they didn't have it where the villains took that and cause all the Pokemon to become enraged and take over the world that way. They used he used that to be like make all the Pokemon enraged so that they confuse with their partner. That's more interesting than I'm gonna take
Yeah.
over the world with these crazy Pokemon. That because that's been
Right. 'Cause
done
that
to
was.
death.
Yeah. Exactly.
Even
Just,
I think with
oh, we
even
can.
within the Pokemon movies, that's been done before. So
Yeah, I think yeah, it wasn't like I said. The plan itself was pretty interesting, I will
mm,
say, because it was different, like you said, so which is good because it was more interesting and like honestly, that's kind of a cool, especially with the main villain being like I know he was like paralyzed or something like that, so
mm,
like him wanting to put his body in the strongest Pokemon makes total sense.
makes sense. Um, I I do also maybe wish that there was one other sequence of them trying to catch a Pokemon. Like it was again like a strong fanboy moment for me to like see him actually pull out a Pokeball and like actually try to catch that Cubone. I wish there was maybe one other sequence, or maybe he like I don't know
Try it
borrowed
again.
borrowed his friend's Pokemon to like battle it at least a little bit, but it was whatever. Like I said, like that just kind of lays the groundwork for a more core, straightforward Pokemon movie for the future. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I was looking at it differently than like a pioneer in terms of
Mm,
Pokemon movies instead of just seeing the movie by itself.
yeah. Um, one more kind of nitpick is that I, you said that pretty much every action sequence is just them running away from stuff.
Mhm.
So as soon as they're done running away from the Greninjas, the ground starts shaking, and they start running from the ground, like coming up all around them. Like everyone knew it was just giant torteras. Like they already kind of hinted
Mhm.
at that earlier in the trail
Mhm.
in the movie. So for that sequence to be what felt like 5 minutes of them running away from just the Earth coming up when we already knew what was going
Yeah.
to happen, and then they finally fall off and they see the giant tortera around. It's like, first of all, we all knew this. You could have just panned back to the giant torteras in the first place. You didn't like need to have that entire running away sequence.
Mhm.
Two, how did how did they get the tortera in that position that no one noticed? How has no one realized? oh crap, they're doing genetic experiments. There are giant freaking
Giant.
turtles over there. Like what?
I have no idea. I mean, it was a cool like aesthetic kind of thing a little
Mm.
bit, so I guess it'll give it a
And
pass. But
also,
yeah, in terms of like logistics, like what?
why don't the Torterra just leave? What's keeping them there?
Maybe they're just comfortable. That's what I'm saying. You can't lock them up. They're as big as an island.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess.
what are you gonna
They
do?
just, I guess they're just happy where they are. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're that big, it takes a lot of effort just to move around. So
Yeah, and yeah, especially right after they had just got done running from the Greninja, Psyduck had a psychic meltdown explosion, and then
hmm.
immediately after that, running from the Earth. Like the pacing
Right.
was a little bit off for this entire movie, honestly. Um, like I don't know exactly how they could have done it better. Like you needed, I understand the need for an action sequence immediately following Tim meeting Pikachu, but then that, in the grand scheme of things, didn't really matter. Them running for the Apoms didn't really matter in the end. Like we already got a hint of them being crazy when they stepped in the gas, so you didn't like need to see them chase them to know oh they're evil. Like we all, and then right after that they just went and get coffee and just kind of they didn't really talk about it anymore. So it just, yeah, I don't know, that the pacing in general was a little weird, but overall like
Yeah.
could have been way worse.
What? Yeah. Yeah. It could have been a lot worse, but
Yeah.
it wasn't too cringy. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And like I said, I felt it was exactly as good as it needed to be. Like they, the fan service moments were spot on. The end credits, having it with like uh
hmm.
Game Boy pixel art and like Kensugi Mori, the guy who actually designs Pokemon and creates all the character designs, it looked like his artwork there at the end. Like that was, oh, that was so good. um, and the plot, though kind of predictable, I felt it was fine. It got the point across just fine. There was also one other little nitpick. There was also like the first 10 minutes before they got to Rhyme City. It didn't. You easily could have shown like after he caught the after he didn't catch the Cubone until he saw the Lickitung. You easily could have shown that to anyone and they not guess the Pokemon movie. It didn't really feel like Pokemon
Hmm.
are everywhere. Like everyone just has Pokemon out and about. Everyone in that town was just kind of walking around. There weren't any Pokemon like in the trees or anything flying around
Right.
until you saw the Lickitung on the train. I didn't like forget it was a Pokemon movie, but like you easily could have
It didn't
been
have
taken out
that.
of
It
it.
wasn't in your face about it. Look, it's just
Yeah, it's a
any
little
other
weird.
movie. Yeah. And I guess maybe they kind of did that at the beginning just to kind of like give the more aesthetic to like with the main city with
Yeah,
Pokemon and people hand in hand,
you
but
still could
maybe
have
that's what they were
still
going
could have
for.
had like a
But
Meowth running
yeah,
around or like just other like bird like
yeah, or something going
Pidgey
on.
flying, but it's whatever. So anything else you wanna mention about it?
Yeah, I mean, generally it was fine, just not. I think I was expecting better. Maybe I was expecting too much, but generally it was
Hmm.
fine.
I mean, it's
It was
still
okay.
the best video game movie there's been.
Yes,
I don't think
yes.
that's hard to argue.
No, no, it's not at all. But it's still like the bar was on the ground,
Yeah,
so that's not saying too much.
yeah. Like it's better than the Super Mario movie. It's better than
Oh
Resident
boy.
Evils. It's better than Rampage. Like it's better than these kind of terrible video game movies. So that's all I wanted going in. I just wanted a movie that felt like a Pokemon movie that also like had some references to the anime, had enough references to the game, but wasn't overwhelming about it, that had at least a decent story, and I got that. So, I'm as a Pokemon fan, I'm satisfied. So
that's fair.
And I'm very much so looking forward to Detective Pikachu 2, which I don't really know how they'll do given the ending of this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't. Maybe he'll have to. Maybe he'll. I mean, maybe he'll start becoming. Well, he said he wants to become a detective, so maybe they could pick it up. He'll get his own like Pokemon partner, and that's where they could go with it.
And I mean, Ryan Reynolds and his Pikachu will still be there, so it'll still be Detective Pikachu. Yeah.
Right. Maybe they can like be like a buddy cop detective thing with their Pokemon. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I just hope that in future Pokemon movies of any kind, there's more of an emphasis on catching and battling. Like this movie gave you a taste of it, but we would want. It's more of a proof of concept, and it worked, but we want more.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense too.
Yeah. But. Okay. I think I give it like a 7.
I give it like a 6. I was like, it's fine. Like it hit the bar. It was fine. I'll take it. I just wasn't super entertained.
Yeah, like.
But I mean, that's fine.
I went in hoping for at least a 7. I got a 7. I'm good.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Now to go on to a movie that I personally feel is way higher than a 7. Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Man, this, like, DC movies in general, like, they can be hit or miss, but when they hit, they hit.
Right?
Like, sure, we have our Son of Batmans and our Death of Supermans and our, what is that,
Reign of the Superman.
Reign of the Superman. Like, these movies aren't great, but, like, Soul and Arkham, well, this movie, like, they
Under the Red Hood, really good. Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns, like, we're only naming Batman movies, but, like, there are plenty of other, DC superhero movies that are great, but, like, they're good. And this is no exception.
Yeah. It's done really well. Do you want to start or do you want me to go?
You start.
Yeah, but it's done really well. I think at first I was like, okay, I know they've done this comic book wise, but I don't want to see how it does movie wise. And I wasn't a huge fan of like Batman's original design with more of the blue than the black. But I think in this universe it kind of worked because it usually I associate the colors and stuff with how the movie's gonna be taken, so I see like blue Batman, I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be really lame, really, and then 5 minutes in you see some dude get wasted and you're like, oh, it's gonna be one of those movies.
Yeah.
Where I was there,
just straight up shuriken hit one of his own men in the face.
His own dude, I was just like, oh, okay, this is gonna be serious. Like I was, it was really good. I like how characters that I thought were gonna have good interactions actually had great interactions and stuff like that. The characters worked off each other really well. It was funny. It was the villains were really good. There was a lot to like about it.
Oh yeah, and I knew going in that Damian would be the Robin. I actually liked Damian. It's weird,
right?
They actually played up his whole "I'm a kid. I'm trying to be big and tough, but I'm still a kid."
Right.
And him interacting with other Raph and Mikey, that just really emphasized just kind of this is how this character should be. Yes, he is this killing machine, but he's still 10. He would still be disappointed when he can't have pizza.
Right. He still has those, things that every 10-year-old has, even though he can't rip some dude in half. That showed his strength there. I like how Barbara and Donatello got around really well because both of them the science aspects, they're both resident geniuses of their communities, and Leonardo kind of getting on, trying to be almost under Batman's wing, kind of.
Yeah.
That was
trying to learn
cool
from
to see.
Raph actually, standing up to Batman, and everyone freaking
out. Right. Everybody's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he's like, well, I mean, that makes sense, though. Raph's not going to take that crap for anybody. Even if he did get his butt kicked last time. He doesn't care.
And, yeah, I kind of, throughout the movie, I kind of was hoping they would they would have a scene where Raph, talks to Batman about being the loner type and being like, because I've watched the show, I've watched other Turtles movies and stuff where Raph, like he said, goes out on his own and gets in trouble, and the other turtles have to go help him. So they're like, in a lot of ways, Raphael and Batman are pretty similar character wise. So
Yeah.
that makes sense for them to have that interaction.
Right. Yeah, I think that was really good for the characters. Also, I really like I was excited with the choice of like Ra's al Ghul and like Shredder going together, but I was not. I liked how they collaborated, but did not get along. I thought that was
Shredder
really,
hated
I
Raz.
know. I loved that because that makes total sense. Like
Mm.
both of these guys would resent the mess out of each other.
Yeah.
They would hate each other. Like my
Shredder
army
hated
does
Raz.
yours.
Raz thought Shredder was incompetent. Like, it is great.
Exactly. It was.
I love how Raz looked at Penguin and is like, wow, I'm glad someone's actually doing their job right to Penguin of all people. It's like,
oh my God. Like, I'm just like, bro, this is crazy. And like how casually they'd go about, like, yeah, we're still cool, but like you could tell the moment something either went down or I have the opportunity to get rid of you, you're gone. Like I was like that cross, like you're just waiting for the double cross the entire time, and it's just really done well. I also like how they incorporated the rest of Batman's rogue gallery, although a little bit in some interesting forms. I kind of liked the ooze thing they did. I thought it was a little weird at first, but it was a different take, so I was okay with it.
yeah, like it makes sense for the worlds to collide like this. I don't think you really needed the ooze because the ooze didn't really seem to enhance them in a significant enough way where I didn't feel like if they weren't oozed up, they wouldn't just act the same way. Like,
Exactly.
Bane would just be that strong anyway. Like, Mr. Freeze's suit could have, tanked hits like that anyway.
Exactly.
But it's fine.
Yeah.
They've still
kind of like.
Although I love Poison Ivy's gag of like, she's just a plant.
They just kind of casually go around the wall. I thought that was
like, it's so dumb, and like I love Poison Ivy, but like it was funny.
I think that was done pretty well. And the Joker's like this Cobra thing, which I think is very adamant with like the whole his whole like Joker Venom stuff. I think that was really good. So it was definitely handled well. I liked it.
Oh yeah. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the entirety of like all of the Rogues Gallery being just in Arkham Asylum and like them not getting out. I feel it would have made a little more sense for us to put them on a wild goose chase to find all of them like out in the city, but I guess keeping them in one place would have made it easier for them not to find Raz, but they still Arkham Asylum is still an interesting enough location for them to mess around with it enough. It'd be cool, so
and
it was fine.
Yeah, and it was more trappy that way too. Yeah, like you're locked in here with all these guys, and they're like it was more like that.
Like keep in mind, this place is nothing but a maze. Stick together, watch your backs,
Seriously.
be safe. Like, I was hoping for a pep talk. Like, that was the pep talk. Let's go.
Yeah, he's like, as far as Batman goes, that's the pep talk. Like, yeah, that's fair.
And I loved. Well, like every time Batman and Shredder fought, like this movie as a whole, BC animated movies in general as a whole, like they kind of have sequences where clearly like no frames are happening, and others where it's silky smooth. Like sometimes they just kind of like bust through a door and they're suddenly there. Other times, like when they're fighting, it's very smooth, very well choreographed. And this movie is no exception. Like there were many times when people were just like standing there, and like clearly the one talking is the only one being animated, and like all the turtles in the background they're just still images. Or like some of the scenes when they're driving around, like it just looked a little framey at times, but every time Batman and Shredder fought, like it was very, very well done, very well animated.
And I like how they didn't make you wait till the final act to see these two characters interact that you wanted to see interact from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because it was quick about that with the Turtles also, because it's literally, all right, let's go fight Shredder, and they have a great fight and everything, and like you kind of thought, yeah, Shredder's probably gonna win just because it's still early, but it was like it wasn't like a
cheat.
yeah, it wasn't like, oh man, you got right. It was like, oh yeah, this like, you know, Deus Ex Machina BS move.
I was kind of hoping that, you know, because he's Batman, after learning what that was, he would just be able to do it.
Yeah.
But it's like he didn't need to have it. It would have been funny for him to be like, for him to like when Leo was telling him, like, oh, only 2 people know that move, you know, our Master and Shredder. He's like, now 3. Like, what? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
And then when he's fighting Shredder, like, just casually do it. But it's fine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would have been sick. And then I like how the Turtles just kind of get their butts handed to them.
And like, Batman. Clearly Batman isn't fighting to beat them. He's fighting to like try to understand them. Which is almost more dangerous.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on here? He's just like, as he's diving and like beating up people, and like the grappling hook on his back, and he goes flying. Such a Batman thing to do. Great.
And I when Mikey, you know, flew into that restaurant, and that couple was sitting there, and was like, I don't need to see other people, but I don't like other people. I relate to that so much.
He just busted in. Everyone's like, God, there's a crazy bat chaser running around. Everyone's like, oh my God, a turtle like runs. Like no one's freaked out about Batman. You're the freaky thing.
Hell no.
Oh man, great.
And just anytime Jim Gordon can be gotten by the whole turn around, say something, turn back, and they're all gone. It's usually it's a fun gag.
Oh my gosh. And like, I also like how, especially in the beginning, the Turtles use the elements of stealth. Because I know they're ninjas, but I think sometimes that part of it they kind of just don't.
Because they're big hulking monsters, like they shouldn't be stealthy. So a lot of writers just be like, "Oh, why would they just use brute force?" But they're also ninjas, like they use the shadows to their advantage. At least they try to.
Right, so. Everyone, and they were good at it too. So I think that was really cool. They do that, and like the smoke grenades and stuff like that. It's still really practical for them. So, especially with this collaboration, I think that was very adamant. Important to do that.
Yeah, and the sequence where the Turtle Mobile and the Batmobile are driving like, and they're fighting like giant T-Rex monsters and giant elephant people, which Batgirl just let explode and probably died. The elephant ran into those tankers and it just exploded.
I mean,
he's dead, right? They have something to reverse him. You didn't have to kill him.
It's fine. It's fine. It happened off screen. It doesn't count. If it happened off screen, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
No, that's not true at all. But I mean, hey, it's fine. A bunch of people were getting wrecked in that movie anyway.
Yeah. And Troy Baker, like, he is always arguably one of the most talented voice actors in the industry, because him being able to play Batman and Joker in the same scene,
movie,
it literally sounds like Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill talking to each other. It's crazy.
He does it very well. Yeah. I don't know how you would even do. I think you'd have to just do one and then do the other. You couldn't like go back and forth.
I guess,
no way. There's no. That's so. Yeah, it's extremely talented. It's just like, I don't know, like voice acting in general. Just like, because people can just sound so different, and like, yeah, you can't see them, but like, you know that they have to do. There must be something going on. They're just having to like, especially the more animated characters, like, you know, they just got to like really get into something like the Joker or something like that. But it's just like being able to do that and then playing something as stern and stoic as Batman.
Yeah. Like you have some people like Tara Strong who does basically the same voice for every role, but like you like her voice, so it's fine. But then Troy Baker, like you literally can't tell when it's him, and that's crazy.
Right. True actor of the voice, I guess. Yeah.
And oh, I loved Alfred in this movie, like him just trying to deal with these turtles just being in his house. Just
It's just great because, like, at this point, Alfred's had some put up with a bunch of dumb stuff, so at this point, he just does not care. Oh gosh.
uh, and yeah, Leo's little fight with Ra's al Ghul, that was like he had to play dirty to win. That was like he was used to fighting Batman, who's his you he's his equal in pretty much every way.
Right.
Batman never does that. So.
Yeah. I mean, which makes sense because it's like I'm not on this level because I just got wrecked by Batman not too long ago, so I have to, whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just like on paper, a Batman versus Ninja Turtles movie, or Batman and Ninja Turtles being in the same movie, you think wouldn't work because one
Right?
is
Yeah.
like so goofy and just like crazy, and like especially in more recent most recent interpretations, and then Batman is Batman. You wouldn't think they would mesh at all, but they
Right.
really do.
It works pretty well. And I
Yeah,
think it's just kind of like they're almost foils for each other, and I think it helps with like Batman, like with having Robin and Batgirl just kind of to be that kind of bridge between the two because they can work with either.
yeah.
So I think it just kind of helps to
Uh, yeah.
bridge the gap between
And
them.
I did really appreciate that it wasn't a situation of, oh, they came from another dimension and now they have to figure out how to get back and what. No, they're just from
Yeah.
New York. And like they make
Yeah.
jokes about how Gotham and New York are basically the same place. And like, why are there those random blimps here? It's like, why are those random blimps here?
Right? Because it's Gotham, and that makes sense in Gotham, but only in Gotham.
Yeah.
Nowhere else that makes sense. Oh my gosh. I was really hoping for like Killer Croc to just kind of like
Yeah.
be around, but
Yeah, like when they're
I
going
was
through the
okay with that.
sewer, like have them kind of
Right?
pop up and then, but maybe would have broken the flow a little bit. I don't know, but
I mean, like, you didn't have to be like if they just like saw him and be like, so like,
yeah.
one of the guys or something. I don't know.
They'll say that for the
Mutual
sequel
rep.
because there's
That
gonna
would
be
be
a
good.
sequel.
There should be. Is there?
I mean, like Shredder, fell in the vat of acid and came back in the after credits scene as Joker
Yeah.
Shredder.
Yeah, but I mean, until I see it officially, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna.
They should make more. They should
Yeah,
honestly.
sure. I mean, it was great.
They should team up and make more standalone Ninja Turtle movies because this works very well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, these were really good turtles. I like their design. It wasn't too like off from the originals, but it still had its own like flair to it.
Yeah, and like it was just violent enough without going overboard that like
Yeah.
this could work in a Turtles, straight up in a solo Turtles format because
Right.
in every cartoon they always have to justify, oh, these are robots. All the Foot Clan, the 2012 version, are just robots, or oh, they're aliens, so it's okay that I'm killing them. But this kind of shows that they can push it a little further and it's fine. So if
Yeah.
you want to make more Turtles movies, why not?
Yeah, no, it's still. I mean, I think it's still gonna be like drawing a line with like, oh, the turtles with the like, swords and whatnot can't just slice some dude open.
Yeah.
But
Which again is
Yeah,
kind of maybe why they felt the need to ooze up, Mr. Freeze
Yeah.
and whatnot, because
yeah,
you can't really cut a bear with a sword. You just can't.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe but I mean, they could have. I mean, it could have worked in some aspects. Maybe like cut Bane's like venom cord or something, or like I don't know. But yeah,
They do that every time. I don't think
They
I would
do.
want to see
They
that
do.
again.
they do.
Like
that is like-
it gets to the point where every single time Bane shows up in anything, Batman's just
Yeah. All right, get out of my face. Like goodbye.
like you're one of my strongest villains, but I'm gonna just take you out instantly.
I mean, but he is Batman though.
He is
But yeah,
Batman.
some are definitely a lot harder to deal with than others.
Yeah, outside of the like sometimes framiness of this movie, which I said is the case for every DC movie, like even the Dark Knight Returns or Soul and Arkham, they have some of that sometimes in scenes where they don't really, especially in scenes where it's people talking or where it's like not like crucial for the plot. It's fine, but like other than that, I didn't and Killer Croc not being in it, I didn't really have any major issues with this movie.
No, it was great. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it was really good. It was funny, and like it had elements of both industries that
Mm,
I really enjoyed, and that every part of their collabor together was a lot of fun to watch too. So I think it
yeah.
was really good.
So Baxter Stockman, the little fly dude, he is one
Yeah.
of the weirdest turtle villains because like he's a scientist that turned himself into a fly, and sometimes like most continuities he's like just a villain who works for Shredder, but here him being like not knowing if he's working for them or if he's like hostage. Like,
Hostage. I know really there's a
and then
lot. I
Damian
mean,
Wayne coming up to him was like, please don't kill me, please. I'm just a hostage. They're like, wow, you're disappointing.
yeah. I mean, and that is kind of fair because I mean, if you're working for like Shredder or Ray Shaw, like it's not like you can really say no.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, aren't we
Especially
all kind of
working for
hostages?
both. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I think we're all kind of hostages at this
Mm-hmm.
point. Yeah, I think, but his interactions were funny. He's a
Mm-hmm.
good little comic relief character when they had the two serious people.
Yeah. And I love just how seamlessly the Foot Clan and the League of Shadows just incorporated with
Mm-hmm.
each other. Like once they started working together, like it was just both teams just be doing ninja stuff, and it was awesome.
Doing great, yeah. And like you could, I mean, it was really you couldn't really tell who was which
Mm-hmm.
clan or whatever. Like it was just they were just going, which is also really cool.
Yeah,
I was a
and
little bit.
oh, go.
I was a little bit hoping for like a ninja war a little bit, just because like, oh yeah, oh you betrayed me, oh
Yeah, I was
no,
actually just
you
about to
think
say
we're gonna
that
go?
too. Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been like that would have been pretty sick.
like
And
at
then
least a
it kind of
little bit
like,
of a Shredder versus Roz clash, maybe towards the beginning when they
yeah,
first meet, and with Roz clearly winning because he's Roz, but like
right, just because, but like still would have been awesome.
it was fine. I
No, but I
mean,
mean, it's still a great movie.
yeah, like if they do have a sequel and Roz shows up again, they could fight then, but and there I think there's three I think there are three current uh, graphic novels of Batman Ninja Turtles stuff. So like, they have,
Hmm.
and like this movie pulled most of the material from the first one. So like they have at least two
Okay,
more they
perfect.
could do. Um, so I'm open for
Please
more.
do. Yeah, you have the source material. Just I mean, do it
Yeah,
again. Like,
yeah. And if this does, you know, if this is as big of a hit as it appears to be, I wouldn't mind them doing a Justice League and Power Rangers crossover. That there's a comic for that. That could be cool.
interesting. That would be interesting to see.
Mm.
And mainly, I don't know nearly as much about Power Rangers
Oh, I don't
because
either. But
I've never seen Power Rangers, but like from what I can tell, that would work out pretty well.
mm,
Hmm.
uh,
All right, sure,
yeah,
why not? Giant
one more.
robot can.
Any other thoughts?
Nah, good movie. Hopefully there are sequels, and
Yeah,
yeah, that
I
was it.
highly recommend Batman vs Ninja Turtles if you can find it somewhere, and especially if you are a Pokemon fan, I do recommend Detective Pikachu. Like, if you're not a
Mhm.
Pokemon fan, I wouldn't recommend. Like, I wouldn't. It's kind of hard to recommend this kind of movie for anyone who's not really a Pokemon fan.
Right.
That's not really the point of the movie. It's literally for Pokemon
It's
fans. So
for the
like,
fandom.
but if you play, especially if you played Red and Blue, or if you've like watched the show at least a little bit, I think you'll at least enjoy it. You might
Mhm.
not like it, but you'll enjoy most of it, probably.
Right, or you'll get some references to something, or like, oh, I remember doing that, or seeing this
Yeah,
Pokemon or something, so you'll like it.
yeah. And with that, we will see you all next time.